Welcome our first guest then on the show. Yogendra Yadav joins in, senior leader of the Aam Aadmi Party. He joins us from the sideline of the IIFL Investor Conference. Yogendra, hi, morning. Good to see you in an investor conference. A lot of market participants actually want to know what your economic agenda is. But before we talk about that, since you are the political brain behind the party, I just want a couple of political questions out of the way. You did announce your first list of candidates, but that did not include Arvind Kejriwal. Are you waiting for Narendra Modi's candidature from any particular constituency to announce Mr. Kejriwal's name? What's going to be your strategy as far as Mr. Kejriwal is concerned for Lok Sabha seats?
One thing is absolutely clear. Whether Arvind contests Lok Sabha election or not, Aam Aadmi Party is contesting national elections under his leadership. That said, there are a lot of uncertainties. There are uncertainties partly because we do not know whether Lok Sabha elections and Vidhan Sabha will coincide in Delhi. That's a decision to be taken by central government. They are playing all kinds of games, so we don't really know what is the situation. We need to know that before Arvind can really think about what he would do, where he would contest. But to my mind, that's less of an important question. The crucial question is the crucial issue for us is that the election would be fought at a national plane and it would be fought under his leadership.
So, just to carry forward that point, is the thinking now clear that it's going to be the BJP and Narendra Modi that's going to be your primary opposition? Because, if you go by, for example, the tweets of some of your political party leaders or some of your volunteers, it does look like the focus is clearly shifting to an anti-BJP stance or an anti-Modi stance. Is that likely to be the case? And just to come back to the question, will Arvind Kejriwal be pitted against Narendra Modi as a PM candidate?
Our politics primarily is not a politics of anti-BJP. I know many parties in the country have their politics which is primarily anti-BJP, which then gets reduced to support whoever can somehow prevent the BJP. That's not our politics, I wish to say with all emphasis at my command. The reason why we may appear to be so in the few days is because we already have taken a very clear stand against Congress and its corruption. And the very fact is, I think the simple fact is that the country is fed up with Congress and the UPA. Disappointment would be too mild a word for that. I think there is a wave of disgust against this regime which is spreading across the country. In this climate, a substitute from within the political establishment sometimes begin to look attractive. So far, we had focused all our attention on the UPA, on the Congress, but increasingly we see they are completely marginalized from this election. And therefore, there is a renewed emphasis on saying, yes, everyone wants change, but substitute is not change. We need an alternative. That is why there might be a perception that we are focusing more on the BJP. For us, Congress and BJP both are equally options that the country needs to reject. And this incidentally also applies to the so-called third front. We want to offer an alternative that is outside the political establishment. So we do not participate in that single point anti-BJP politics.
Okay. Fair enough, Mr. Yadav, but I just wanted to focus on one issue, which is basically a possible economic agenda that you all will be focusing on in order to contest the elections. One of the biggest problems that India is possibly facing is a sub 5% GDP growth, which we will come through with in FY14 most likely. And not to mention that, the current Finance Minister, P. Chidambaram, just outlined a fiscal deficit target of a possible 4.1% in FY15. What is your stance as a party towards these key points in possibly reviving GDP growth in FY15 and also maybe even reining in fiscal deficit to 4.1%?
First of all, I wish to say that, look, these things are not negotiable. That the country needs growth is something which is not negotiable. That we need to grow further for people to have any benefits of this is of course not a negotiable thing. The current levels of growth projection are worrisome. They need to go up. That we need to find models of development which include everyone in the country in the growth story itself. Unfortunately, for far too long, we have separated the question of growth and that of justice. What we need is a method, mode of growing which includes a very large number of people at the bottom of the pyramid in the growth story itself. On fiscal deficit, again, I mean, there cannot be two arguments about reasons of wanting to have fiscal discipline. My own sense, I'm not an economist, but my own sense is that finance minister's claim about where he has brought the level of fiscal deficit is a somewhat clever way. As the newspaper said it, he used a lot of mathematics to arrive where he has arrived. I think the situation is far more serious. I think we need to take steps to keep it under check. I don't know if we really have managed to keep it under check.
Okay, Yogendra, let me come back to the politics then. Let's talk about some personalities. Will Balakrishnan be, contesting election on AAP tickets? You've announced first list. Will in the second list will be seen names like that of Bala or some other prominent names?
You don't expect me to disclose the second list before the party officially announces it. What happens in all these things, a lot of informal consultation takes place. The Aam Aadmi Party has been privileged to receive, to solicit interest from, or has been able to get some of the finest people from different walks of life interested in our politics. Yes, we are in consultation with, discussion and talks with many of these. It may not be appropriate for me to make these talks public. It may not be good for us, it may not be good for them, but yes, in the coming days you would find lots of interesting names, and we are in the business of providing this country with fresh kinds of choices, and yes, that is dictated partly by having fresh faces, so we are in the process of doing that.
What is your stance on possibly coming out with a prime ministerial candidate before you contest the elections? Is that something that the Aam Aadmi Party will look to do? And who is possibly the likely prime minister candidate from the Aam Aadmi Party? Have you done any sort of internal analysis on the same?
There are two ways of becoming prime minister in this country. One is that when you have you have 200 plus seats, you are the most natural contender, that's one way. The other has been the route of having 25-30 MPs, blackmailing some, manipulating someone else. The second route is not available to Aam Aadmi Party. For the first route, we have to think hard before we can lay claims. It's very easy for political parties to claim big. We don't want to claim big. We want to remain close to where we are. So unless we have that second option, the real 200 plus option available to us, we think twice before saying we have a prime ministerial candidate here. But irrespective of whether we formally announce a prime ministerial candidate or not, there is absolutely no doubt there are no two views on the party about who is leading the party in this Lok Sabha campaign. Irrespective of whether Delhi elections take place or not, Arvind Kejriwal is our clear leader in this national campaign. And most political parties, as and when they think of the Prime Minister, do think of their leader as the natural candidate.
Okay.